and welcome to Real Talk. If you joined us last week, we talked about the pre-approval process. This week, we're going to start with buyer consultations all the way up through accepted offer. So basically, once you have your pre-approval, you're going to sit down with us. Either we're very accommodating. You can sit down at one of our offices. We can come to your home. We can meet you in a Starbucks if you want. And we go through the whole process of purchasing a home step by step. So basically we sit down, we go over your wants, your needs, we touch on the timeline of things, we touch on some of the miscellaneous expenses that are involved in purchasing a home, and then we get into the real meat and potatoes of what you're looking for in a property and the areas that you're looking for.
Right. And when you're sitting down with us, you should always, ahead of time, make a list of your must-haves, then your wants. And you know, a lot of times people will think my must-haves is a full basement or a garage, or it must have granite or countertops, such things like that. That's really not something that a home must have. That's something you can do down the road. A lot of times your budget doesn't allow for that, so mainly it just has to be able to accommodate your family and see how much work you're willing to put in the home, if you want it more turnkey or if you're willing to put a little work into the home before you move into it.
Yeah, and a lot of times once we sit down with people and we go over and show them exactly what's in their budget and what they can afford, you know, that list obviously alters a little bit. And our jobs as professionals is to help you think outside the box when you're looking for homes. You know, instead of the full basement, are you able to use an extra bedroom for what you were looking for? Or, you know, if you don't have the garage, can you use a basement? Those kind of things. So that's, you know, where we come in, being, you know, that we're out there all the time and we see all different types of houses in different styles. We're able to, you know, show you different ways to manipulate the layout. You know, if you wanted a dining room, for instance, in Cape style houses, the downstairs usually has 2 bedrooms. What a lot of people will do is knock down the wall between the stairs and one of the bedrooms and make that a dining room. So there are different ways to play around with the layout of houses in order to be able to give you what you're looking for.
Exactly. And really keep your options open. A lot of times people say they want a certain type of house and in a certain area, and they really don't want to look in other places or at other houses. And a good portion of our buyer clients, we notice what they say they want and what they actually end up purchasing is not the same. I know that a lot of people tell me they want new builds or they want this and that, and what they end up in is not what they really requested from the beginning. So really just keep an open mind when you go out looking for a house. If your realtor's saying to you, let's go take a look at this, it might be something you're interested in, go take a look, because sometimes you'll be surprised. Yeah,
I mean, I've dealt with multiple people that I'm thinking about right now as you're saying that, you know, refused to live in a certain area, didn't want a certain style house, and I mean, down to like not wanting to live like off of a certain main road, and they ended up buying that exact house just because it fit every other need that they wanted. So again, you know, we implore you to keep an open mind, especially if you're in a competitive price point, which is something that we'll discuss when we sit down with you, because there is no perfect home, and our job is to help you get as close to it as possible.
Exactly. So once you do find the home that you really love, or a home that you feel could be your perfect home, you're going to want to put an offer in on that house. Now, if it's a house that you feel like you absolutely have to have, this is it, you're going to want to put a very strong offer in. You want to contact your lender and see how high you could possibly go that's in your comfort zone, because with the rates fluctuating so much lately, you're going to want to really make sure that you're in a good spot to do what you want to do to ensure that you get the house. And if it's a house that you say, you know what, this could work, but I'm not positive that this is definitely my forever home, you don't have to go in as strong, but you still have to make a solid offer, and you have to move fast, because in this market, if you don't move fast, you're not going to get the house.
Yeah, I mean, speaking, from where we are, again, inventory is so low. So, I mean, we have to put our best foot forward always because we don't know if we're going to have an opportunity to come back and offer a higher amount. A lot of times, because there's multiple offers on properties, the listing agent will say from the beginning, listen, Monday at 5 p.m., we're asking for everybody's best and final offers. And unfortunately, we don't know what that number is. We wish we did. It would make our jobs a lot easier. But, you have to remember the listing agent is working on behalf of the seller. Most times we're working on behalf of the buyer. So, they're not going to tell us what that magic number is. So we always have to educate you as to what, the comps in the area are going for and, what houses have sold for, what are currently under contract, and then help you come up with that number. And I mean, I always say to my buyers when we sit down that there is like a emotional aspect to an offer, and then there's a numeric aspect. And the numeric aspect we can help you get to by running the comps and showing you what's sold in the area. But the emotional we can't help you with because, I mean, obviously if you walk into a home and you know in your gut that this is your home, I mean, it's going to be worth a lot more than any dollar amount. Unfortunately, we can't help you in that aspect, but we ask you from the beginning to know what those two numbers are. And we always say, if you were to get beat out by $1,000, I mean, are you going to be devastated? And if the answer is yes, then you know that you should increase your offer another $1,000. If it's no, and you're drawing the line in the sand, then that's where you need to feel comfortable.
Exactly. Now, say you put an offer in and your offer gets accepted. Yay! Once your offer is accepted, now it's time for you to set up an inspection. So with an inspection, we have multiple inspectors that we can refer to you. A lot of times buyers will say to us, you know what, I have a friend or a family member who can do an inspection for me. We do not recommend that at all. We always recommend using a licensed inspector and insured. They could take a look at the house, they give us a full report, they'll tell us if there's any problems, what the major problems are, if there are any. It is a non-invasive inspection. They cannot go in there busting down walls and checking pipes and ripping roof tiles off and such, but they'll be able to see any major things that are going on. Now, a lot of times, first-time home buyers mainly get very nervous when they see an inspection report. It is a big book, and they document every little thing that they find in that house, whether it's a crack in the sidewalk or the bushes are too close to the house, or if there's a tree that's near the house that needs to be trimmed back, or if there's chipped paint somewhere.
The inspectors that we use, and the reason why we use them is because they are very efficient. They, can go in, they can point out the defects, and they do so in a timely manner. I mean, I've sat through inspections where I've been there for, 3+ hours. Yes. And, while the buyers think that this is, a service to them, that we're there for so long, it can be done in a much more precise manner. So the inspectors that we do work with closely, they get in there, they point out, everything that needs to be pointed out, but they do so in an efficient manner. They also walk around, with the buyer, and we have a conversation throughout the entire inspection about what the findings are. So when they do get that report in a couple of days and it's, 40 pages long, and they're like, what is this? This wasn't mentioned. We do know by the time we leave that inspection whether or not the house is worth pursuing. And it's nice because you're able, as a buyer, especially first-time buyers who have never done this before, you don't know what's normal and what's not. So unless it's something that affects the main functions of the house, like the plumbing, the heating, the electricity, and going back to what we were saying about multiple offer situations on properties, we kind of have a conversation with you that we don't really want to get super nitpicky with little tiny things that are found in the inspection report, because chances are there were a few other offers behind yours when they accepted yours. So we don't want the seller to second guess and decide to go with another offer. And like Adam was saying before, until we're in full contract, anybody can come in and outbid us, and the seller is welcome to take any other offer. They have no allegiance to you. So our goal is to get you into contract as soon as possible so that doesn't happen. So yes, with the inspection, they give you an opportunity to ask any questions that you have. They can verbally explain things to you so that when you get that report, you don't feel like, and I always tell my buyers, like, when you get the report, it's going to look like the house is falling down, whether it be a new construction or a 100-year-old house. It's just the way it is because, like Anna said, it is the job of the inspector to point out every single thing in that home. So,
exactly. And like Allison was saying, you will know anything that needs immediate attention is something that we could absolutely negotiate with the seller. It's always highlighted in red, meaning it can be dangerous and it does need to be addressed. And 99% of the sellers are like, oh my God, I had no idea, and we'll take care of it. But anything such as cracks, trees, fixing an outlet cover, a lot of people are like, we're not dealing with this, we will go with another offer. So
so once negotiations of the inspection are done, then we're ready to move to contract. So we'll discuss that next time.